My why is my children and my family and my grandchildren. I have a grandchild and I have another grandchild on the way. And my why is to spend time and enjoy my life and my grandchildren. And like I said, you have to have a reason you want to do it.
Catherine, how did you find carnivore?
Hi, Dave. I found carnivore a long time ago through my journey with keto. And all my life, I have struggled with being overweight. And as it was especially in my teenage years, I started out very skinny when I was little. And my mother took me to the doctor and asked the doctor what was wrong. And he said, well, she's fine. So when she gets hungry, she'll eat. And as I got older, I ate and ate and ate and ate. And I grew and grew bigger. In the 80s, you grow up, and back in the 80s is when all the McDonald's craze was, the Happy Meals and all that stuff. And our family, we had pizzas and unhealthy stuff all the time, pastas and spaghetti, and go to buffets, all you can eat buffets, and it just wasn't good. And my mother, she worked at Krispy Kreme Donut Company for 45 years. So she would come home and bring boxes of donuts all the time. And of course, as a kid, you're going to eat donuts. But, people say that a lot of times they say being overweight is genetics because my mother and father were overweight. But I don't believe that. I mean, I just don't. I think it's the way you grow up eating. My mother was from the mountains in Virginia, and you grow up on cornbread and pintos and all kind of foods like that. And I think it's just what you grow up eating. And as a teen, I would come home from school as an afternoon snack. I would sit down and take a whole loaf of bread and eat half of the loaf of bread. Just squish it up and ball it up and eat it. And sit down and eat bowls of cereal. And you think all this stuff, this food, they tell you to eat fruit and vegetables, and I would do all that, but having the carbs and the sugar on top of that, it doesn't work. And it's just, I've lost my mom this last week, a week ago, and my mom was 96, but all of her life, she struggled with being overweight, and just she had heart disease, she had kidney disease, she had diabetes, she had heart issues, she had stents put in her heart from high cholesterol, and all these health issues, and she suffered a lot, but she lived to be 96. And anyway, moving forward, in 2004, I had twins, and I gained up to 285 pounds. And at my girl's ninth or 10th birthday, it was kind of ironic because at the party, we had a guessing game of everybody to guess how much each girl weighed. And I have a photo of me standing beside them, weighing them. And if I would have stepped on that scale, I probably would have broke it. And I look at that photo I sent you of me standing there huge. And that picture right there convinced me that I needed to do something. I needed to change. And so in 2015, I found Butter Bob Briggs also. And then through that, I found Dr. Berry and the Steak and Butter Gang and Sean Baker and all those people. And I have been watching videos of all these great doctors. And now I found you. And there's so many people out there who are more educated about the proper human diet, and I want to shout to the world I wish everyone could find this way of eating. It's so much healthier. I have improved so many conditions. I used to I used to have acid reflux so bad that I would get in bed at night and the acid would come up in my throat to where I felt like I was going to have to throw up. And I would sit straight up in bed and just constantly eating Tums, and my joints would hurt, my knees would ache. I couldn't hardly get up steps. My knees would pop and crack, and my back was hurting so bad at one point, I couldn't hardly move. And I just had so much recovery from finding this way of eating that it's hard to explain everything that has really happened to me. And I sleep better at night. I might not sleep as long now. I find I can't sleep as long because when I sleep so sound. And when I wake up, I'm ready to get up. I'm ready to start the day. If I wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to go. And I just have more energy. Even when I'm home, I have a sedentary job at work. I have an office job. But when I'm home, I find I have to keep busy. I'm wanting to do something all the time. And I feel like I have more energy to exercise when it's warm. I like to get out and walk. I even this Christmas bought myself a bike. So I plan on going biking. And I have done some kayaking and things like that. And I used to have seborrheic dermatitis. I would get it right here, dry patches up here. And that's went away. But it does flare up a little bit when I have too much cheese. I've been trying to lay off the cheese. And my numbers going back since I found how to read my medical charts and understand the numbers, I went back several years and looked. And in like 2018, my kidney function was at 60%. And the doctor never told me. And my last time I went to the doctor in 2022, because I don't go to the doctor very often, but in 2022, my kidney percent function was back up to 90% after eating healthier. And just all these people, the doctors, they don't tell you this stuff. They say, if you go in and you tell them that you're doing carnivore or ketovore or whatever, they don't like that. They want you to say, oh, I'm eating fruits and vegetables. And I had a doctor and I told him, he said, what are you doing? You've lost a lot of weight when I went in, in like 2020. What are you doing? And I said, I'm eating low carb, high fat. Well, I don't know about that. But I say, okay, I just keep going. I don't pay any attention to them because I've learned that doctors are just there to try to push some medicine on you. And it's not healthy. The medicine, you take medicine, then you got to take something. It has so many side effects. You got to take something to get over the side effects. And also, like I say, I've seen so many people that eat what they think are healthy. I had a former boss. He passed away in 2019. And I love that man. He was like family to me. And he had some cholesterol and heart issues, and his doctor had him on statins. And I would go in the morning and he was eating steel cut oats and Cheerios and, the heart healthy Cheerios and things. And he passed away from a heart attack. And you just see it and you just want to shout at people, don't eat that. I tell people I work with, they know how I eat, and they kind of laugh at me, and they still sit there eating their cookies and crackers and things, and they say, oh, but you need fiber. You need fiber. You don't need fiber. If you eat fats, you will go to the bathroom. I have no problem going to the bathroom. But, when you go to the store, your shopping is faster. I go straight to the outer aisles of the store. I avoid the center of the store where all the processed foods are. I shop for my meats mainly and my dairy, and that's it. I'm in and out, but half the time I just to kill time because I have so much energy. I just walk around and look, but I never buy anything from the center of the store.
So you're walking around the middle aisles, kind of going, not buying that, not buying that, not buying that. No, thank you.
Exactly. I just get my butter and my bacon and my steaks, and my sausage and my eggs, and I'm basically done. Other than what I buy from my husband. My husband, he is a little more ketovore. He was diagnosed in, well, he wasn't really diagnosed, but in 2020, um, he had he has polycystic kidney disease. And in 2020, we found out through his medical records that came home with him one day that he had stage 3B kidney disease. And his doctor had never told him. Every time he would go, he would just say, drink more water, drink more water. And he never told him about this kidney disease. So we called him and asked him about it. And he said, well, it's nothing major, just drink more water. So I knew about how good keto, and carnivore were with helping with your kidney function. So I convinced him to let me cook for him this way, eat the proper way. And his kidney function went from like 32% back up. His kidney function is back up. He's out of stage 3. He's in from 3B, he's down to 3 now. So his kidney function is back up to like 40% from 32. So he's making progress, and he got rid of his indigestion. He would used to sleep all the time. He wanted to come home and sleep and wake up and eat and go right back to sleep. Weekends he laid around sleeping all the time. Now he has more energy. He's out doing something. We have a farm here, and he works out around the farm and stays outside a lot and stays busy. And he's feeling much better.
First, let me say that's awesome that just changing the way your husband eats and just getting him to follow along with you, he's improved his kidney function like that. That's excellent.
He used to be a person who wanted potatoes and beans. He says, I don't need meat. I can do without meat. But now that he doesn't get his potatoes and beans and starches, he can sit down and eat a whole pound of hamburger. But he gets a little veggies, green beans, low carb. I give him a little stuff like that. But he eats more meat now than he used to.
So back on for you, what was could you clarify the timeline a little bit? So how long have you been like full carnivore?
Full carnivore probably since October of this year. I started out at keto, and then I went more ketovore, and I lost most of all my weight. I started out at 285, and I went down to 198, and then I went more ketovore. But this past summer, I decided that I wanted to raise a garden. So all we had was tomatoes, cucumbers, the low carb stuff. And I got to eating those this summer, and I gained back 14 pounds. And I said, no, I got to go do something different. So I decided to go full carnivore, and I have lost that 14 pounds back since October. And it's just amazing how people think vegetables, they don't do anything to you. But I noticed the inflammation in the joints again, and the weight gain. You think it's low carb. Oh, it's low carb, but it still has sugar in it. It's still a carbohydrate, even though they're low. And your body doesn't know the difference in carbs, whether it's processed sugar or natural sugars.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting. These kind of these kind of N of 1 tests are so interesting. Like you eliminate everything, and then you add a little bit back, and instantly something happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
There's
noticed it.
like
I can
yeah.
really tell it. And,
Mm,
I used to, back when I first started in 2015, my feet would hurt so bad when I would get up out of bed at night to go to the bathroom. I would have to just stand still because my feet would hurt so bad. I would have to stand there a minute before I could start walking. I have none of that now. It's all gone. All my joint pain is gone. It's just amazing. I
yeah.
feel great. I'm 53 years old, but I don't feel it. I feel like I'm
Mm.
30 something again.
So, you you mentioned so many improvements. I mean, the weight loss is like very dramatic. I'll show the pictures in the video. The weight loss is really dramatic. Um, and you've had so many improvements. Your husband's had improvements. Um, what does everyone around you think? What is your family and your friends around you thinking about this?
I tell them what I do, and so many people have so many issues, and I said today, I care too much about people. I guess I try to help them, but it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. And you just want to shout it from the rooftops. You're so excited because how it makes me feel so great. I would love for them to have that and have all these problems, high blood pressure, diabetes. And I try to explain that this way of eating, this low carb, ketovore, carnivore, it helps with all that. But people just say, oh, I can never do that. I can never do that. I can't give up my bread. Oh, I can eat meat, but I can't give up my bread. And I can't, it's so hard for me to give up potatoes. And it's not hard. If you set your mind to something, you can really do it. You have to have a why. You really have to have a why. And I'm sorry, my why is my children and my family and my grandchildren. I have a grandchild and I have another grandchild on the way. And my why is to spend time and enjoy my life and my grandchildren. And like I said, you have to have a reason you want to do it.
Very, very well said. Um, so you mentioned people at work, and you talked about how like people are like, oh, I can't stop eating my cookies, or I can't give up my cookies.
Yeah.
Um, so the thing is, but don't they see the difference in you? Like, don't they go,
Yeah.
well, cookie, or I could lose all this weight and be healthier?
Yeah, there's a lady that works at a local store, and she told me the other day. She said, "I need to know what you're doing. Can you make me a list? Write me a list of what you eat. I need to do something. I need to lose some weight and this." And I said, "I eat meat. I eat eggs. I eat cheese. I eat fat, lard, butter. Well, good stuff. I just don't eat any vegetables or fruit." And everybody's asking me, and she told me, she said, "I see a change in you. I've seen it, and I want to do it." But it's like you tell people, I've had several people ask me what I'm doing. What do you eat? I tell them, but they don't attempt it, I don't think.
Yeah, I especially feel that the type of person who says to you, "Okay, can you write me a list?" That's the person that's not going to do anything with the list. So,
And I've been watching these videos for years, since 2015, and I've just learned through all the videos of people I've watched, the health improvements and the advice. And it's wonderful. And it's like the other lady you interviewed, and feel like you have nobody else that's around that shares your experience, and you feel alone. But I have my husband, which is a good thing in my house. My children are gone now, and also I have a daughter, and one of the twins. She has started. She went full out carnivore to begin with, and she's lost 12 pounds in a couple of months, and she's doing better. She feels like she can breathe now when she lays down at night. She doesn't have that pushing feeling. She can breathe better, and I think her allergies have improved. She's always had asthma and allergies, and I think she's enjoying it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Nearly the whole family converted. That's great.
Well, not the one daughter. She still eats a lot of processed foods. I'm trying to convince
Mm.
her, but like I said, you got to want to do it yourself.
You've got to be in the right frame of mind, and you've kind of, I don't know, like for me, it was I had a long run up to carnivore, through low carb and keto and stuff like that. But for someone going from a regular diet straight to carnivore, they need kind of there's there's got to be something that convinces them. And I think with regular dieting, you'll see some success story on TV. Someone reduced calories and they changed their whole body, and you often look at that and go, yeah, but that's just an outlier. That's not going to happen to me.
Mm.
And I think when, like, a friend or something is talking to you and they say, what are you doing? And you tell them, and they've got that filter on at that time as well. They're thinking, well, that won't happen to me.
Yep.
But if enough of us are talking about this, eventually, you know, the seed is planted. Eventually they'll come around, I hope.
Yes,
So,
it's amazing of all the carnivore groups and everything of how many people are actually doing this and recovering and getting through these, getting off all their medications and everything, and improving their HDL numbers and their triglycerides. And these doctors, they focus on high cholesterol, your cholesterol level. That's not important. It's the HDL to the, to the triglyceride in your triglyceride levels, and it's not that total cholesterol. That's what they want to look at. And also my husband, because his cholesterol was high doing ketovore, they wanted to put him on a statin, and luckily he knew through the information we saw he doesn't want statins. He's looking at those good HDL numbers and things and triglycerides. That's what we pay attention to.
yeah, nice. So
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
And another thing was, people, they see the changes, but they just don't want. They're just so addicted to this sugar. It's worse than a drug. And people can tell me at work, they say, "Oh, you can just have one. You can moderate. You can in moderation." I can't do that. I cannot do moderation. Um, there's a lady called the Carnivore Doctor. I don't know if you know her, Lisa what Wiedemann, I think's her name, and she is an eye doctor, and she said she had a guy come in and said he was going blind from his sugar levels, and he was Italian, and he said she said, you need to give up some of these carbs, and he said, oh, but I can't, I'm Italian. you know he would rather go blind than give up the carbs, and it's crazy.
Actually, yeah, that's a really good point. Like, he's going blind, and not willing to even just give something a try, because it's like, no, I can't stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an
Wow.
addiction. It's a bad addiction. And you don't,
Mm.
and people, when people tell me, oh, you can have just a bite of this or a bite of that, well, if you're an alcoholic, you don't, you can't drink just one drink. It's like that. If you're a carbaholic, you can't have any carbs.
Yeah, exactly. And being both, I know
Yeah.
very well. Yeah. Um, how are you eating at the moment?
How am I eating? Well, I usually do. I intermittent fast every day, usually. Um, I have done some extended fasting over 24 hours. I did a 48 fast week or so ago. That was my longest I've done. I would like to do more, try more of that, but I think I just have to work up a little more. But I eat usually just 2 meals a day, usually. Sometimes I don't eat breakfast, and sometimes I just eat lunch and dinner. Sometimes I eat breakfast and I eat lunch and no dinner. It just varies. But I have come, I eat ribeyes. I love my ribeyes. And I eat hamburger. I eat sausage, I eat eggs, I eat bacon, I eat ham. But I started out when starting keto, I used the canned stuff. I used the spam and cheaper items like that. But I've come to learn there's better options, get away from those hidden ingredients and go with one ingredient foods as much as you can.
When was the point that you got to where it was like, I can look at that delicious looking food, but I don't feel anything at all?
Yeah, there's times, I can look at people, I'm not even hungry, and people can be eating around me, and it doesn't bother me at all. And I can just go for hours and hours and hours because I eat a lot of fat on my foods and it keeps me satiated. And I see these people eating junk food at work, and I look at all that stuff as just poison to me. It doesn't even interest me anymore. I have no cravings at all. And it was sad. Another thing, I was at the grocery store the other day, and there was a real heavy man there, and that poor man had frozen pizzas in his cart, and he was grabbing 4 bags of potato chips and Doritos and sodas. And I'm looking, and he could hardly breathe as I walked around behind him. And I thought, you just want to wish you could tell people, if you would only change. And you're spending all that money, and everybody says, oh, but carnivore is so expensive. If you're not buying all that other extra junk food, processed food, you can afford some healthy meats and stay full. Eat 1 or 2 meals a day. You're not eating all day long, snacking because those carbs have wore off. An hour later, you're hungry. Well, with carnivore, I can eat for less than $10 a day most times, and you can't go to McDonald's or anywhere and buy one meal for that, and an hour later, you're hungry again.
Mm. Yeah, that's. I think a lot of people can't get their head around the fact that eating in a different way means you don't have to snack.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
don't snack at all.
So, the like for someone who's a carboholic and they're still doing a regular diet, I think carbs to them is almost like the edge of the pool is for someone who can't swim.
Yeah,
And you're saying to them, well, look, just eat the meat, just try swimming and you'll float. It's okay. Just try swimming and you'll float. And they're like, how can I swim if I have to hold on to the side?
yeah,
And that's the same thing. How is it going to be cheaper if I've still got to buy these snacks? And the point is, you don't have to buy the snacks. You don't have to
yeah.
hold on to the edge.
No, you don't.
Hmm.
Like I say, I just lost all cravings for sugar, and in the holidays, all these people were eating cookies and candy and cakes and pies and stuff, and it just didn't interest me.
So your social occasions have been fine for you, like when you go with friends and.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't really go out. We don't go out to eat, and I don't really have that many friends to go out with. But my husband and I, we eat at home. We don't go out. But if like we had a church event at Christmas, and they brought in pizzas, and I knew they were bringing pizza for a lunch. I fixed 4 hamburger patties, a whole pound of hamburger, and I took a cup of butter with me. And I sat there and eat my hamburger patties with butter on top. And they were looking at me like I were crazy. But I didn't want pizza.
Yeah, you kind of get to the point where when someone's looking at you like you're crazy, it's kind of you're wearing it as a thing of pride because you're
I
feeling like
do.
yeah, well, you think I'm crazy, but look at what's happened to me.
Right. They say, well, it's amazing. You look good, and I'm proud of you, but I couldn't do it. You could. If you try,
Hmm.
you could.
Hmm.
It's so easy. And, cooking time, there's 5 minutes, I can have a meal. You're not mixing all these ingredients in and buying all this extra stuff and mixing this and learning how to bake this for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I can have my meal done in 5 minutes.
Hmm. So you've had lots of weight loss, you've listed lots of improvements. For you in your day-to-day life, just going about everything you do day to day, what is the one improvement you've experienced that kind of tops everything else that makes your day-to-day life easier?
A lot of it is how I feel. I don't ache, I don't hurt. And also, it's like my mental state is better. I'm not depressed. I'm happier. I feel happier. I have this aura around me, and I don't let things stress me out. I used to get so stressed out, I would sit and cry over things, but people can say anything to me now, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I just brush it off and just go about my day, and I'm just much happier.
That's awesome. The it's almost like a lightness in your mood, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they call it carnivore zen, and it sure is.
Mm, nice. So where does this go for you and for your husband, do you think, going forward? I mean, what is the future like for you with carnivore and what kind of goals do you have going forward?
I'm sticking with it. I'm planning. I'm hoping to lose more weight when weather gets better. I'm still trying through the winter, but I want to get out and exercise more. Uh, I want to just be outside more in the sun. I enjoy the sun now. It just feels so good when you go outside and get in the sun. But I just want to get more healthier. And even if the weight loss doesn't come, I just want to build my composition a little better, learn how to do that. And I don't focus on the scale too much. They say don't do that, but I have kept up with my weight, and I wanted to show you and tell people, don't focus on the scale. Your body is readjusting, muscle mass and everything is shifting. And I was going to show you a little chart I printed off of my weight loss from the time that I started in 2015, which this chart is only the last 2 months. But you can see your weight. I'm sorry if it's backwards. But you start here and you'll go up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's gradually, it's going down overall, it's down. So when it goes up, you can't let that bring you down, because overall you're going downhill. It's slow, and the older you are, the slower it goes. And at first, when you're first losing, it's mainly water weight, but if you just keep at it, you will get there.
Well said. Yeah, very well said. So I'm interested. There was a little bump towards the end of the graph there. Was that when you added the tomatoes in?
Oh no, that was sometime between around the first of the year. I don't know why, but
Ah, okay.
but yeah, this was just the last few months. It's not back in the summer when I
Ah,
was up to. But you see, it started out at 215. Uh, I was at 215 in November,
okay. Oh, nice.
but
Wow.
and I'm back down to 198 this morning.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what you say is so important for people to really pay attention to, is that it's not about just the scale, because it will go up and down. It's about how you feel, and also what you actually see in the mirror
That's
and your
right.
measurements, right? Yeah.
I don't people say don't weigh every day, to discourage you, but I do it anyway, and I don't let it bother me.
Mm.
Some people will stress about it, but I don't stress about it. I just like to see the results. Another thing I wanted to mention was, like I said, I've fought with this weight for so long. Back when I was younger, well, back when I was 285, I had an aunt, and she told me, she said, you're really unhealthy. You need to lose some of this weight. You're really unhealthy. It didn't hurt my feelings. But after I saw that photo of me with my children on their birthday, how big I was, I said, yes, I do need to do something. Well, I lost all this weight, and my mom had told her that I had lost down. I went from a size 24 pants down to a 12, half. And she told her, and she says, no, that's not true. She hasn't lost that much. So I went by her house one day, and I undid my pants, showed her my pant size that I was wearing a 12. And then later on, she says, Well, you look sick now. You've lost so much weight. You look sick. So you can't make people happy. You're either too fat or too skinny. I'm not sick. The overweight people are the ones that are sick and don't know it.
I think the lesson to take from this is people just like dispensing advice, you know?
Yeah. But if people, there are so many people these days that are overweight, maybe not too much overweight, but they think if you're skinny, you're sick. And I'm not skinny. I need to lose about another 30 pounds according to my height. I'm 5'6", and I'm supposed to be around 160, they say, but I have more to go. But I'm not giving up, and my husband won't give up either. We're trying to keep him healthy, and especially me. Most women might say they want to get rid of their husbands, but I'm trying to keep mine around. I have a very good husband. I've been blessed.
Oh, that's lovely. So, Catherine, is there a YouTube or an Instagram or anything where people can reach out to you?
No, I don't have that. I just share my stuff on my personal Facebook page, but I feel like people ignore it or they get tired of seeing it. I try to spread the word that way, but I don't do anything major. I just do what I can do through my little Facebook. If they don't want to see it, they can unfriend me. I'm just so happy. I want to spread the word.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story, Catherine. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do because I love your shows.